Welcome back, Keepers of the Flames. Sorry, I got a little notification from YouTube. I've uploaded too many videos in one day. I sincerely apologize. So we are gonna hit the air signs right now because we got water and earth done last night. So this is for the lunar eclipse, full blood moon in Taurus. What do we have? We're gonna start off with Aquarius. What do we have for Aquarius? What does the universe want Aquarius to know? Wrong? Okay. I used the wrong deck. I apologize. Okay. What does the universe want Aquarius? Wow, okay. Right deck. Okay, so we have 2 swords in justice. Okay. You're going to pick who's in your head. And I think it's going to be because it's bringing some sort of balance to your life and mental clarity. And it's almost like I don't know, her golden gown is just so gorgeous. It's almost soothing to look at. It feels like you're just gonna you just gotta pick the right one. And the moon is in this picture, right? So make sure you're paying attention to your subconscious thoughts at this time. But that doesn't sound too bad. So what we're asking basically about is if there's anything that the universe can give you a heads up on what's being hidden with this lunar eclipse and what you need to know about things that are going to be revealed, maybe things that you need to let go of, because this right now is a huge, powerful moon for releasing all karmics. I know. For me, it's working out quite nicely. What else does the universe want Aquarius to know? Ace of Swords. You're going to start becoming yourself. You had a choice. Maybe you chose both the birds to live in your birdhouse. This is all freaking air, dude. And that's Aquarius. I think now you're giving yourself the permission to set out on your own journey and be who you truly are, because she's holding the key, and there's the keyhole right in her head. You're going to unlock exactly who it is you know you need to be, and then you're going to move towards it with absolute determination. I get a touch of brilliance here too. Is there anything I need to tell Aquarius that might pop up, they can dodge a bullet or something? What does Aquarius need to know about their new mental journey into discovering exactly who they are and how they need to be in the world? Okay. Page of Swords. And she's got a book down here. So you might need to do some learning. And the learning could possibly bring you to your knees. Pisces have this in reverse. But this is like bringing enlightenment. But you're gonna be brought to your knees somewhere on the journey, but that's to be expected when you're going through an awakening. It's not all sunshine, rainbows, and unicorn farts. So the 5 of Swords. Pisces got this upright. So this is in reverse. You're done with mental struggles and keeping something trapped in a jar. I feel like you're going to release that little butterfly that's in there and set it free. Maybe that's what it is. You're going to get mental clarity on the thoughts, feelings opinions, beliefs that you've been holding that are no longer serving you and that are not true for you any longer. And then you've got the Two of Wands in reverse. Maybe that's going to bring in some stuck energy for you. Maybe something needs to be more cultivated, more sifted through, because she's got a book here. So might need to do some research. But remember, when you're doing research, just because one person says one thing, it doesn't make it scripture. If another person says another thing, and kind of accumulate from as many different resources as you possibly can. You know, if you feel drawn to this person's teaching, or you feel drawn over here to try to make things kind of cohesive, when going through this journey, I would highly recommend that. We are living in a society right now that is, for lack of a better word, very susceptible to falling into a cult mentality and a cult system. Because so many of the cults on the planet are now starting to be unveiled. So people are leaving one cult and probably not leaving behind the mentality, the beliefs, and the habits that allowed that system to stay in their life in the first place. So when you're doing this, Aquarius, just assimilate everything and take it from different sources. You don't need to go... When I say different sources, I mean not all under one umbrella. Okay? Choose different sources for your all intents purposes, making sure that this is a well-rounded journey. No bias is being had. Okay, so we're using the Blind Spot Oracle cards, which probably is not going to get me too many views, but I am in service for the highest good. So here we go, Aquarius. What card are you going to get? Where's your blind spot? Okay, if one doesn't fall out, I'll pick that one. Okay. One fell out. All right, here we go. You got 45. That's a cool card. And I set this up so you can see my beautiful background and not so much of me. Right now, I'm going to have to hold that card up really far away. Okay. That's okay. I'll be like Baba Jolie and just get fucking... Her freaking right arm, you know, is fucking ripped. You freaking know it. You can see it in her videos, too. Okay. I'm going to pull you in just a little bit closer. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. We're having a thunderstorm here, so Yoda is... all snuggled up, so I'm trying to make room for him as well. One of these days, I'll get my furniture in the mail, and then I'll have, like, maybe an official office. Okay. The filter. If you have drawn this sojo, you are seeing as the situation at hand through a filter, and you don't even know it. As a result, you are not seeing the situation clearly. All of us have perspective. Perspectives are limited in that unless we are using a totally objective perspective, our perspective is subjective. An object will look different depending on what perspective you have of that object. Each perspective is a different angle on something. Our perspective shapes our experiences, and our experience shape our perspectives. We could look at an objective perspective as the amalgamation of all the subjective perspectives relative to something. A child will have a totally different perspective of the family home than the parent will. A doctor will have a totally different perspective about a medical crisis than a patient. You can imagine subjective perspective to be like looking through the single telescope, as if our subjective perspective were not limiting enough. What makes this even more limited is that the view through it is less accurate. Is that we also see the world from our limited perspective through filters. As if looking through a single telescope at the world isn't bad enough, the lens we are using has a filter on it. This distorts the reality of whatever we are looking at. We can recognize the limitation of someone's perspective and see their filters. However, we have a very hard time recognizing the limits of our own perspective, and we have a very hard time recognizing our own filters. A filler is literally anything that shapes or distorts our perception of something. They can be thoughts passed down to us, information we are fed, beliefs we have been conditioned to adopt, ways the information is presented to us, experiences we have had, and meanings that we assign to experiences, just to name a few. We began adopting filters for our telescopes even before we are born. And not only do they distort our capacity to see things clearly, to see what is real, they can also ruin our lives. For example, let's imagine that 3 years old, a child is attacked by a dog. This will create a filter that dogs will attack them that could persist until adulthood. The rest of us who love dogs will tell you that this experience is not only rare, it is entirely avoidable if someone is actually doing the right thing with their dog. We have all kinds of other experiences that shape our perspective that dogs are wonderful and much less dangerous than people. But the filter through which this person sees dogs can shape their entire life relative to dogs. They will see dogs in a totally inaccurate way. For example, a child might have a super loving experience with her mother. As a result, she sees the universe through the lens that everything is there to support her. She may not even notice people who are not around her with her best interest in mind. People who are not around her with her best interest in mind because of this filter through which she sees the world. Some of these filters are beneficial, some of them are detrimental, but regardless of whether they are beneficial or detrimental, the thing to be aware of is that they are not necessarily accurate. They might just be totally distorting your capacity to see what is real. Sorry. Every filter we adopt, we change the way we see the world and the way we see ourselves. Every filter will shape our life experience. The things we think and say and do. There is nothing in this world more dangerous than subjective perspective that is mistaken for objective perspective. There is nothing more dangerous than a filter that distorts our capacity to see what is real. If you have drawn this sigil, you have a filter that is distorting your capacity to see what is real. You are mistaking your discord subjective perspective for an objective perspective. Question your perception and step outside your limited and highly individual perspective. Relate to this situation. Consider every other perspective you can relative to the situation at hand. Okay, Aquarius. Okay, rocking and rolling. Okay. Let's go on to Libra. I actually made this video last night, but like my battery fell short, and then it didn't upload to YouTube, which is probably a good thing, because the reading I had for Libra probably would have sent you straight through my computer screen to do not nice things to me. Okay, so Libra, let's do bunnies. I'm feeling the little bunnies for Libra. What does the universe want Libra to know in this full blood moon eclipse? Okay. Oh, you're handling it with some grace and gratitude. Jeez Louise. At the fire, and you're working on something. Not arguing. But you are spelling what you speak in a major, serious way. Okay, and you're not committed to any of this. Why is that? Why are you not committed to this? Because you're not receiving the right intel. Your little fishy is not speaking to you. Why is your little fishy not speaking to you? You're in good energy, but for whatever reason, you're holding off on committing to something. Because this is pretty much freaking bomb energy right here. And then all of a sudden, your commitment just falls away. And your love cup is not coming in. I say we jump into the blind oracle over that one. Why is Libra holding back? Why is commitment not on it? Okay, well, alrighty then. 33, good number. We'll see what she has to say. Shame. I opened right up to the page. Okay, so this is shame. I'm going to give you a trigger warning right now. Okay, Teal Swan wrote this book. She does not pull any punches. So this is your warning if you have anything traumatic around shame, which a lot of us do. So I'm going to ask you to please take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video. Love you, Libra. Okay. Shame. If you have drawn this sigil, you are not seeing or admitting to your shame. You need to attend to your shame. Shame is one of the most misunderstood aspects of social behavior. The reason for this is that most people think that shame is solely a mental and emotional response to self-diminishing experiences, beliefs, and thoughts. The truth is, shame is much more primal than that, and it's more debilitating. To understand shame, imagine a sea anemone. If you poke the sea anemone with your finger, it will immediately pinch itself closed. This reaction happens at an instinctual level. It happens without the sea anemone having to think about making it happen. It's an organic, biological, effective reaction. This visceral reaction is comparable to your fight or flight mechanism. Freeze and fawn is in there too. If you do not have to think about jumping out of the way of an oncoming car, or you do not have to think about jumping out of the way of an oncoming car, when your body perceives a threat, it reacts and you feel that reaction. Shame is actually a primitive reaction encoded in your organism, just like your fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mechanism. There's only two basic energetic movements within this universe: to push something away and to bring something closer. When we see certain things, such as something we perceive as cute, it triggers an instinctual reaction to bring it closer. But when we see images of threatening things, it triggers an instinctual reaction to push something away. For most of us, maybe. Love is an instinctual reaction to pull something closer to you. Fear is an instinctual reaction to push it away. And shame is an instinctual reaction to push yourself away from yourself. Of course, you cannot actually do this because your consciousness experiences a similar embodiment. The only way to push yourself away from yourself is through fragmentation. For this reason, we could say that shame is the mechanism for fragmentation as well as suppression, and shame creates internal separation. The number one need of the human ego is to see itself as good and have others see it as good. Shame is all about seeing oneself as bad and having other people see us as good. The number one enemy to the human ego is shame. The ego will cope with the shame through all of the classic coping mechanisms by going into denial of it, deflecting it, rationalizing it, projecting it, suppressing it, splitting it into alter egos, converting it into physical symptoms, overcompensating for it, intellectualizing it, isolating themselves, or self-injuring. For example, the thing that people deflect more than anything else is shame. Here are some examples of shame deflection. Okay, this is where it's going to get triggering. So, mwah. A mother can feel shame when her infant expresses a negative emotion towards her. It makes her feel like a bad mother. But her ego can't handle that, and so she deflects that shame onto the infant. She decides that the infant must have something seriously wrong with it. Or a person asks for the honest truth from a friend in their life. The honest truth makes them feel ashamed of themselves. They can't handle that shame, and so they decide that friend is a horrible person. All of this is in attempts to avoid accepting and admitting to the shame we feel and working with it directly. Badness in our human society is integrally linked to blame and fault. Recognize that relative to the situation at hand, you may have been blaming yourself for something. That something may or may not actually have been your fault. Either way, that self-blame is coming from a baseline self-concept of shame. If you have drawn this sigil, you need to admit to your shame, own your shame. For example, a man might feel defensive in a relationship argument about being emotionally available. Doesn't sound like something I have it on. Hang on, For example, a man might feel defensive in a relationship argument about being emotionally available. He may tell himself that the woman that he is with is too needy. He has deflected his shame onto her by making her the bad one in the situation. When he looks deep inside, he may find that he is ashamed because he doesn't feel capable of being emotionally present. Ask yourself, what do I feel ashamed of in this situation? What about this situation makes me feel like a bad person or defective or not good enough or wrong? You need to directly address and lovingly resolve whatever comes out of that questioning. Bring the parts of yourself that you are ashamed of closer to you and include them as part of you, rather than push them away. If you have drawn this sigil, it will benefit you to spend some time with 76. Okay, rule number 1 with blind spot cards. If you are not used to dealing with blind spots, 1 a day or 1 a week, something like that. Okay, Libra. You're not committing to this love because either it's invoking those feelings in you or you have not resolved the past, dare I say, trauma. So you can move into this. And that's okay. You need your time to heal. Don't beat yourself up, okay? Take your time, heal, and then you can think about love, okay? Don't make any moves with this lovely little eclipse we have going down. Okay, who's next? Jim. Okay. All right, Jim. Let's get her rolling. What does the universe want Gemini to know about this blood moon eclipse in Taurus? Wackadoo. Okay. There we go. That's better. Let me see the flutter of eyes. Okay. What does the universe want Gemini to do? Okay. 3 of Wands in reverse. Taking a pause before we go hiking. Need your shoelaces on those boots? What's going on, Gemini? The universe wants Gemini. 8 of Pentacles. Yeah, you got work to do before you can move forward. Okay. What work does Gemini need to do before they move forward? We're gonna... Okay. So this one came first. Ooh! 6 of Swords in reverse. Again, stuck energy. You got a boss all up in your, not letting you move forward. Feel like maybe this is work environment, or either you own your own business and you're being way too hard on yourself, not letting yourself move forward. What else is, ooh. Okay. Then you got the King of Pentacles and the Four of Wands. This happened with Cancer too. It's like they jumped into 2 different readings. I'm starting to think that some of you guys are like freaking getting your fragmented selves from different dimensions and integrating, incorporating, doing the freaking dark crystal magic crap between the sketchies and the mystics. You're like, this sucks, but I'm gonna rock it and celebrate. And I'm like, Cancers was just holy but Jesus. I mean, it was like two things like merging. But I was like, I don't know how to just I do know how to describe it, but I don't have the time to. Maybe I'll do a video on that tomorrow. So maybe two worlds, 2 dimensions, your fragmented self. Maybe this is part of your reality and this is part of your reality, but you're not mixing the two. Integration. I'm getting integration. Anything else for Gem? That's okay. Cancer's going through the same thing. Scorpios. Holy bejesus. Love Scorpios. So yeah, you think you're stuck. And look at her. She's right in that mirror. Like there's no strings there. So in this reality, there's no strings. But the mirror she's looking in, there's strings and crows. Okay. I'm pulling. Fine. What does Gemini need to know about this releasing of this energy and maybe integration parts? What does the universe want Gemini to know? If I could shuffle the plastic cards correctly. Okay, that's half the deck, and we don't have time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Come on, Uni. What does Gemini need to know about this? Okay. Thank you. Okay, so 41. I don't want to get kicked off YouTube. Let me read this real quick. Oh my God. So if you have drawn this sigil, it is extremely positive attitude or behavior you are showing towards something suggests you feel you lack or fear you lack, a trait you deeply desire. When you fear you lack something, instead of becoming aware that you fear you lack within yourself, and instead of overcompensating in other areas, you overdo in the area of deficiency. For example, you may be socially anxious, but you overcompensate by acting overly socially confident. Or if a person fears that deep down they are prejudiced and therefore lack perceived goodness of character, they will often go to extreme lengths to prove their generosity and positive attitude. They will act unprejudiced and demand equality from those who are openly prejudiced relative to the stigmatized group of people. This is even truer when their sense of themselves as unprejudiced is threatened in some way. Overtly positive or rigid attitudes can often suggest underlying negativity we are trying to deny, reject, suppress, avoid, or disown. If you have drawn this sigil in this situation, you are terrified about something you fear that you lack. As a result, you are overcompensating to cover over the truth that you either fear that you lack that thing or actually do lack that thing. Are you fooling anyone? Are you fooling yourself? What are you afraid that you lack? What would be so bad about lacking that thing for you personally? Now is the time to face that lack. Which are you going to use to try to prove it does exist or it doesn't exist? Okay. I hope that helps. I think you feel stuck because you're... So, again, in the mirror, she's chained by strings. That's what she's perceiving as reality. But in reality, she's actually sitting right here with nothing around her. So you think your boss is being a douchebag? But they're not. Or this is what maybe society is saying about something, and this is how you're perceiving it instead. Because maybe this is the reality of the situation where you're not safe in your workplace. You're not safe to kind of be yourself and move around in your workplace, but this is how you see your workplace. Anyway, Four of Wands and the King of Pentacles. So this is how you see your boss, and this is how this is how you're acting at your workplace, and this is how the situation actually is. Or vice versa. I don't know which one it is. That's for you to know, Gemini. But either way, something is distorted here. Something is not... You're seeing yourself as trapped. You're seeing yourself as stuck. And it may be because you think this is what your job is, but this is really what it is. Or because maybe your job is this way, but you want to see it this way so you can get unstuck from your job or the boss. Boss energy is huge here. It has something to do with the boss. You want to date your boss? You want to quit your job so you can date your boss? What's going on? Gem. There's no shame in that, by the way. I'm not casting any shame. I'm just saying, don't throw away your career. B, if you really need to date your boss, then make sure you take precautions and safeguard yourself through that process. It's love is love, is love is love is love, right? You don't